Continuing here. So, yeah, I guess I'm just bugged by being picked on all the time just because I like to smoke a little tobacco. It's not the greatest evil in the world, but you'd think so with the ads I see on TV. And it's not going away. It's been here for thousands of years, and it's going to continue to be here for a long time. I saw David Hasselhoff on TMZ Live recently, and I was really quite impressed. I really knew very little about Mr. Hasselhoff, but he really seems to be a good, decent, upright human being. And I always can't help but commend people like that. People with integrity and honor and that care about other people. Not just themselves. That really kind of get it. That there will be a day of accountability, and we should all give a damn. About things like conscience and integrity and honor and reputation, and basically you're just caring about your soul, and that's a beautiful thing. So I just appreciated that very much, and I always do. I love decent, upright people, and I love everybody, but it's just that I admire it. Let's say when people are, especially when they're very famous people like that, speak out in behalf of the downtrodden. I like that a lot. I saw this CBS report. I don't know if it was a Dateline or 60 Minutes, something like that, maybe 48 hours. I forgot what it was, but it was about this Isle of Egg, EIGG. And a lot of people probably saw this special, but I thought it was very intriguing for an idealist. You think, wow, that sounds ideal. They really have very little need for money, and they all live together like a family and all this. And there's a great temptation to want to move to a place like the Isle of Egg. But right before they ended the piece, there was this woman that lived there, and these are Scotch people, mostly people from Scotland. But they don't welcome immigrants. They don't want people moving there, basically. Dribbles and drabs they tolerate, but they're going to pick and choose. They don't generally like most people. So, that's not exactly heaven on earth, in my mind, when, they're not going to allow you to move there. They've got this ideal place, but they know that, allowing people to move into it's going to wreck it up. And because they bought it. Apparently it had been owned by individual private owners, and they didn't like that much. And the last guy's car mysteriously burned up in a fire. And, so these people are obviously controlling it, very controlling of the dynamics. But, for the most part, I have to agree, the economics of it are very freeing, and they're very secure for the people there. And so I like that. But, to see that hey, we don't welcome anybody, we don't want a lot of people, you're not going to get to move here. So it's very difficult. If you want to emigrate to the Isle of Egg, you're going to have a tough row to hoe. I watched this People's Court with Judge Marilyn Milian. I enjoy watching the show. She's a beautiful woman, physically at least. But sometimes I wonder, sometimes I like her. Like I remember she called one woman out for being an elitist, but sometimes I kind of think she's got a tinge of elitism in her. And, she is a landlord. Here's a woman that's got to be worth many millions of dollars from doing this television show. And she feels a need, she can't resist, whatever, to be a landlord. And so she's a landlord. She makes no bones about it. To me, she a lot of the cases that come into her courtroom involve landlord-tenant disputes. Now, I don't know everything about law, but I know there's a thing called conflict of interest. And there's a time and a place when a judge has to, because they're ethically bound, to recuse themselves from a case. And it seems to me, since she is in that business, and that is a business, that she needs to recuse herself from all the landlord-tenant disputes, but she doesn't. And a lot of times you can see that she is leaning on the side of the land. I listen to these cases, and I mean, she may not even be aware because a lot of stuff that we think, say, and do in life is happening on a semi conscious, subliminal level. So that's why it's important that you separate these things and you say, no, there's a conflict of interest inherently there because she's in that business. So she might tend to favor people that are also in that business. So, you know what? I don't respect that at all. I don't know why that's tolerated by law, that she does that openly. I mean, she's not trying to hide the fact she's a landlord. So, who oversees the judges is what I want to know. You know, they talk about this bar and how it's all this sacred bar and, oh, we're very ethical people and all this. And I think, you know what? I'm not too sure about that, you know? And she always makes a joke. She thinks it's the funniest thing in the world when people sue for emotional distress. She says, well, nobody's paying me. Who's going to pay me for my emotional distress? I'm thinking, wait a minute. She's getting paid a ton of dough for, you know, because she's implying that these people are bringing her their emotional distress, right? So, you know what? I mean, come on. That's not funny. It's not even remotely true. So, yeah, you're getting paid for your if it's causing you emotional distress, then stop being a judge, okay? But you're getting paid well for enduring the emotional distress you're hearing from the plaintiffs and the defendants in the cases. So that's all I got to say about that. You know, I don't talk about my daughters very often. They're both in their early 30s. One's in, I guess they're pretty close to their mid 30s now. But, you know, I think about them constantly. We're really bonded, my daughters and I. But, you know, we used to talk a lot more and I'd visit a lot more. But, you know, that has kind of settled down. And one of them's married and one of them's had a steady for several years now. And they've got their lives. They stay busy and they're good, decent people that were brought up with good values. I brought them up in the church and the Seventh Day Adventist church. But you know, those are some really the Seventh Day are very nice people. These are people that will literally give you the shirt off their back. And you know, it's just nice to know that people like that exist because they're the last people in the world you want to ask for anything from. It's funny how that works, isn't it? That the people that will do the most for you, that they're like, you know, the last people you want to ask for anything. But that's kind of the way, the dynamics, that's kind of the way it works. I've gotten help from them before. They were able to give me some money, but I took it as a loan and paid back everything and then some for, I needed help with an attorney. I had to get an attorney and trying to get custody of my daughters. It's just that the guy that my wife was making them be around, I didn't trust, and I just sniffed something out and it didn't smell right, and it turned out my instincts were right. The guy turned out to be a child molester, and very likely I saved my daughters from being molested by this man. He turned out to be a pedophile, was convicted of being a molester, and he went to prison, and she divorced him in prison. He tried to put a hit out on her for divorcing him. She was living with this, what do you call this, Stockholm syndrome, if you look up that term. And these psycho guys, I mean, you got this messiah complex. You know, they want to be in a relationship with a woman that doesn't even want them, but they're so possessive and psycho that they make the women live in fear that, you know, it's not even the beatings, I think, so much that they take, but it's the threat that they're going to actually take their lives or something that these guys instill. So you end up to learn to live and love and learn to, you know, your tyrants, your oppressor. So that's what happens. And she fell into that for a long time. And, you know, listen, about my wife, this is a woman that gave me 3 beautiful children. And this woman could get away with anything in my mind. There's nothing in heaven or on earth that could ever cause me to turn on this woman, to be embittered toward her. So let me make it clear. I don't know what she's been up to, and I know that she's been married, and I know she, you know, she shouldn't have said she was dating male strippers, or one in particular. If, you know, she didn't want that to get back to me, but she told one of my daughters. I don't care. Look. Look, the woman pushed out 3 babies, and there's not a guy on earth that's as big as 3 babies. Okay, so um, I'm always going to love the woman, and I'm never going to be embittered toward her, and I like that. You know, it's kind of a choice a man makes, and this is my beloved. You know, this is the woman I gave my heart, my soul to, and married, and promised that I would stay with her through anything. And you know, and I've been very devoted. I've been very conscientious about that. And to this day, I'd still take her back. But you know, I it's just it's ridiculous at this point because you know she's projecting you know these ideas because she seemed to be tempted to come back to me on several occasions, but you know she probably waited. I think there's no way this guy can forgive me. He just wants me back so he can make my life miserable. But that's what people do. You see, we judge, we stereotype because you see people get small-minded, and whenever we're small-minded in our thinking, we limit other people. We project our small-mindedness onto them. We say, "Well, I know I'm certainly far from being that forgiving. There's no way I could be that forgiving. So I'm going to presume, I'm going to assume nobody else can either, right?" And you know, you got a big problem there, but that's kind of the situation there. And you know, I cannot go the rest of my life without a beloved. My eyes are wide open. I'm seeing them everywhere too. I mean, I just went to this fabrics and craft shop locally here, and to get a tube of glue that I could only find there, and you know, this gal behind the counter, she was cute. You know that? I mean, there's something I just love women so much. The femininity, and you could tell. A guy can always tell when a woman is kind of opening the door, making it easy to ask him out, basically. And I mean, this woman's got to be in her 20s. I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, as alluring and tempting as it is, I think, you know, right now I'm still waiting on another gal. Everybody knows the gal I'm in love with. And I'm still waiting to see what unfolds. I'm not in any hurry. I'm going to take my time because she's worth it. I mean, it has been a long time before I've been this smitten by a woman. And that's Lauren. And, you know, so I'm still, you know, wait, I can wait a long time, believe me. But, you know, it's just that it's hard to resist, you know, being a single man and you just want to be with a woman so much. And it's just at this point in my life, it really is. It's not like so much I want to get laid at all. I mean, it's just like what I really, really want, what I really, really miss is just snuggling. I really do. I mean, listen, when I was a teenager, I mean, I slept together all night with a woman, naked, in bed as a teenager, and she said no, and that was the end of the story. I mean, it didn't stop us from fooling around, and it was a wonderful night. But you know, she said no, and that was that. Okay, it didn't go any further. So I have been always been able to handle the snuggling thing with a lady. Okay, yeah, I could do that. I don't know. Maybe there's some guys that can't, but I'm not a rapist, so I can handle it. And you know, that's where I'm at. I mean, I just miss that so much, just to snuggle up with a sweetie, and I could totally handle it. I can totally handle just the puppy love. Just, but I do miss that a lot, and I want that. I'm never going to be satisfied. I'll never be content, at least till I have that again in my life. I need a sweetie. I need a beloved. I need a wife. I need a woman, and and I'm going to keep seeking until I find it. And my life is going to be a lot better. I mean, my life is good right now, but I know that if God ever grants me this greatest of all gifts He can ever give a man, I am going to I'm going to treat her right. Okay, I'm going to be really, really nice. There's never going to be a cross word, and I mean, I don't care if she gets cross with me. She's not going to get any cross words back, and I'm going to be nice to her all the time, all the time. I'm going to treat her like a princess, like a queen. I've learned a lot in all this time I spent alone. You know, the irony of me spending so much of my life alone is that even as a little boy, I knew what I really wanted. I just wanted a wife. that was happy. I wanted like the happiest wife in the world. And just something that's brings such delight to me to see a happy woman that's happy to be a woman and that's getting treated right and she's content and that's it, man. That's just the most beautiful thing in the world, and that is what I know will make me happy. You see, so it's a win-win. I make a woman really, really happy, and she in turn makes me really, really happy because of her happiness and contentment, me giving her what she wants. Whatever those things, I don't even really know. I mean, I have few things I can guess. I got a pretty good idea, but